and maybe don't know the answer right off the top of your head or weren't expecting that. And again, inside your narrative, the voice in your head starts racing a little bit, and next thing you know, you're not making the most sense or being the most clear. And I'm happy to stand in front of you and say, I think that happened a little bit with me today, and I thank you for your grace. I want to try again. The second thing, I think it might have been, did you ask me about yesterday? Haley, right? I think it was you that asked me about when I was sharing my story about that numbness that I experienced. That was such a great question, and nobody's asked me that in a long time. And I meant what I said in my answer, but this morning as I was spending time at that really expensive coffee shop, Cat and Cloud, I was just talking with the Lord about it, and I wanted to bring you guys to 1 Samuel. This has been, so for me, I told you my story. I would say that I got saved by reading the Word. Someone challenged me to read the Word, as I already talked about. And I wouldn't say that since I became a Christian at 16 that I've read the Bible like straight through every year. But in general, since that time, that's kind of been my pattern, is just reading. I don't always do it in a year. Sometimes it's slower than that. But I kind of just keep reading straight through it. And then I'm done. I start back over. But something's been different for me the past about 2 years. I've been living in the book of 1 and 2 Samuel, so namely the stories of the first kings of Israel, Saul, David, Solomon, and then his sons, and kind of the collapse of the kingdom, quick collapse. 1 Samuel starts with giving us some backdrop of where Samuel came from. Samuel is going to be the one who is going to anoint David to become the king. In the story, so I want to start in chapter 1 and read this passage of how Samuel came to be, or really right before Samuel. First, let me pray before we read the word. God, again, thank you for this time and thank you for your word. I give to you this morning, I give to you my words, and the students are going to get an opportunity to speak. I give to you their words, that you would speak through our time, that we would abide in you, you would be with us, that we would let go of the pressure to perform. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, 1 Samuel, chapter 1. There was a certain man of Ramathaim Zophim. Anybody speak Hebrew? I can't say that. Of the hill country of Ephraim, whose name was Elkanah, the son of Jeroam, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph. Man, I don't know why I started on this verse. He had 2 wives. So Elkanah had 2 wives. The name of one was Hannah. The name of the other was Peninnah? Yeah. Peninnah had children, and Hannah had no children. Now this man, Elkanah, used to go up year by year from his city to worship and to sacrifice to the Lord of hosts at Shiloh, where the 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were priests of the Lord. On the day when Elkanah sacrificed, he would give portions to Peninnah his wife, to all her sons and daughters, and but to Hannah he gave a double portion, because he loved her, though the Lord had closed her womb. The general assumption, I guess this doesn't say it straight up right here, but the general assumption is this is kind of a similar story to Abraham, where Elkanah, in this day and age, it was really important to have a son. That's the continue of your lineage and your land and your possessions transferred onto this person. And so the general assumption is he had Hannah first. She's named first. She was barren. And so he took matters into his own hands and took a second wife to have kids. But he still had this first love for Hannah. And so he's expressing that by giving her a double portion, because he loves her, though the Lord had closed her womb. And her rival, this other wife, used to provoke her grievously, to irritate her, because the Lord had closed her womb. So it went on year by year. And often, as she went up to the house of the Lord, she used to provoke her. So this other wife would pester her, provoke her year after year on this annual visit. And Elkanah, her husband, said to her, Hannah, why do you weep? Why do you not eat? Why is your heart sad? Am I not more to you than 10 sons? After they had eaten and drunk in Shiloh, Hannah rose. Now Eli the priest was sitting on the seat beside the doorpost of the temple of the Lord. She was deeply distressed and prayed to the Lord and wept bitterly. And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if you will indeed look on the affliction of your servant, look on me and remember me, and not forget your servant, but will give your servant a son, then I will give him to the Lord all the days of his life, and no razor shall touch his head. As she continued praying before the Lord, Eli saw her. He observed her mouth. Hannah was speaking in her heart, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. So she just moving her lips and speaking in her mind, in her heart, in her brain. Therefore, Eli took her to be a drunken woman, and Eli said to her, Hey, how long will you go on being drunk? Put your wine away from you. But Hannah answered, No, my Lord, I'm a woman troubled in spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but I have been pouring out my soul before the Lord. Do not regard your servant as a worthless woman, for all along I have been speaking out of the great anxiety and vexation. Then Eli, realizing the truth, says, Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant your petition that you have made to him. And she said, Let your servant find favor in your eyes. Then the woman went away and ate, and her face was no longer sad. Long story short, fast forward a bit, this is how Samuel comes to be born to Hannah, as an answer to this petitioning that she gives to the Lord. But there's a lot in this passage. The thing that I want to focus on, the thing that I've been chewing on for almost 2 years, is this little thing. We read right over it. I don't know if you latched onto it. Verse 7. So it went on year by year. I read that about 2 years ago, and I got stuck on that little phrase. And so it was, year after year. To answer some of your question from yesterday of what did I do with that numbness? How did I come out of that? I think the Lord is still helping me do that. And I think one of the biggest things that he had for me to learn was this idea of year after year. That for me, the grief, I was heartbroken. I was hurt by being rejected. I was hurt by some of the comments that were made, and I think honestly she regretted them. It kind of happened on the way out of my life. But those things honestly weren't the things that stuck around. The things that stuck around the longest and provoked that numbness was feeling like I had wasted time and this feeling of like, God, why did that even happen? I felt like I had wasted some of my prime years, 23, 24, 25, 26, and now I'm 37. I can't tell you a particular moment where it was like I crossed over the hump, if you will, but it was this slow thing for me. And I felt like I was wasting those prime years and like, Lord, what are you doing? And now reading this, I find so much comfort in, God is outside of, he doesn't waste time, and he is different than us. His concept of time is different. What felt like to Hannah was real and painful year over year. That was her real life. I was able to connect with that for the first time when I read that a couple of years ago. I mean, I've read that verse, at least 10 times, just reading through the Bible straight through numerous times. Never had latched on to that concept. If you go, fast forwarding into the book of 1 Samuel, after David is anointed by Samuel, David wasn't looking for it. He's a shepherd boy, minding his own business. He gets anointed by Samuel. A few years later, he has this experience where he strikes down Goliath, has these huge moments of being told, you are going to become the king. And then God working through him to strike down this guy like Goliath. Well, then guess what happens? Saul hates him. Saul becomes jealous of him. And I don't know if you've read through that story. We won't go there now, but David finds himself living with the Philistines for about, we don't know exactly, but it's about 5 to 7 years is the estimate of how much time he lived with the enemy of Israel and their land. And even at one point, the Philistines are going to war with the Israelites. The king of the Philistines at that point had been kind to David, and David offers to join his army. I don't know what would have happened if he actually, the generals were like, no, we're not doing that. We're not letting this guy, David, who's been anointed to be the next king of Israel, to come fight with us against the Israelites. I don't know what would have happened if the king said, yeah, come on, bring your men. But that's where David found himself for 7 years. Lord, what the heck are we doing? I'm living with the enemy. I'm supposed to be the king of Israel. I think all I want to say is that I think what God has taught me and is still teaching me, and I don't know how that's going to play out in my future and serve me or serve his people, this story that I have, but it's helped me understand that concept, that what God is doing in his sense of time is different from mine. If I just trust him, he has a plan. That make sense? To be honest, I was thinking this morning, I was like, I came here to do this whole Strength Finders thing, but I don't know where you are, again, what your story is, where you've been in the past, or where you're going to find yourself in the future. But for some of you, that little talk right there, that little point that we just talked through, the story of Hannah year over year, that might be the whole reason that I'm here, is to tell you that. He who has ears, let him hear, if that's the case. Okay, so 3 things I wanted to circle on. 1, leveling with you. We did that. 2nd, wanted to talk about the story of Hannah. 3rd, I think it was Kaylin that asked me. No? Can't remember. Somebody asked me yesterday a question about that I butchered. I think it was a question about the importance of knowing yourself. Was that you? Yeah, and I kind of stumbled through it. But I want to circle back to that if we can, because I think it's important. Literally, I woke up this morning at 5 a.m. and that was the thing that I was thinking about. I was like, God, what do you want to talk to me about? What do you want to tell me about that? And the thought that came to mind is when I was in college, I had this mentor. He was an Anglican pastor, which I had never interacted with anybody that traditional. But he was pretty traditional guy. They're not priests, but he wore a collar and that kind of thing. And so we'd been meeting together one-on-one for about 3 years. I was about to graduate. This was one of our last kind of weekly meetings together. And he asked me a question. He said, Josh, what did Jesus say is the greatest commandment? Anybody know? What's the second? What's the first?
Love God.
Love the Lord your God with all of your heart, your soul, your mind, and your strength, depending on which version you're reading. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor. Did anybody know the second part of that? Love your neighbor what? As you love yourself, right? This guy's name was Hooley. Hooley looked at me, sat there for a second, and he was like, Josh, if you're going to love me the way you love you yourself, stay the hell away from me, please. And his whole point was, to make a point. At that time, and it was perfectly timed, man. God, he was a great mentor, and I think God used him to see where I was in processing my identity. At that time, I was just starting to learn, as a senior in college, I'd been a Christian, I guess, for 5 years or so, that, where do I find my self-worth? Who gets to determine, how do I love myself? What does that mean? And what I was learning right at that time was, if God's thoughts are more important than mine, then probably whatever he says about me is the most true. It doesn't really matter what I think about me. And that was exactly kind of his point, was that, Josh, if you can't accept God's love for yourself and who he says you are, how can you possibly do that for other people? How can you have his mindset, his eyes towards these people that he's calling you to? Toward your neighbor, to love your neighbor. Because that truly is the best way to love them, is to see them as God sees them. To call out, hey, here's what God says about you. Does that make sense? I think the idea, so to get back to the question that was asked yesterday, okay, so what does that have to do with, why is it important to know yourself before you know others? I think it's really similar. How can you discover who God has made, these people that he's called you to, your community, people you're outreaching to? How can you know what God says about them and who he has made them to be? That's really the part of the Strengths Finder. It's not necessarily particular about who God says you are. We could talk about that. It's a little bit of a separate conversation. But first, who God says you are and how he views you. You're adopted sons and daughters in Christ. That's the shortcut answer. But then the next step, who has God made you to be And that's where the Strength Finder piece to me comes in. It helps us start to understand, okay, what are those deep things, those talents that God has uniquely gifted you in? There I go. I'm starting to say again. Whenever I'm not sure where I'm going, I start saying So I think it's a similar concept to love yourself first so that you may love others. Know yourself so that you can be free to know others. There's not a verse in the Bible that says like, okay, here's how you're going to love other people. Here's how you're going to approach other people. First, you need to know yourself. Then you get to know them. This is honestly, just a bit more, I think, practical application of how does this actually work. I think it's a generally accepted concept that people cannot receive anything from you until they have some sense of trust in you, until they know that you are for them, until they know that you love them, that you're on their side. They're not going to be able to receive anything from you before that happens. And so again, to me, the whole point of knowing your strengths, it's in that vein, knowing yourself so that you can know others. I think there's two more things I want to say about it. One, it gives you, I hope, it gives you a bit of a framework to think about as you try to get to know others on a deeper level. Now that you maybe understand this concept of, whether you agree that there's 34 or not, let's just go with it. Everybody has talents. They can be broken down into these 34, and everybody has a top 5. Everybody has a top 3. I know what mine are. I wonder what they are in this person that I'm sitting across the table. I wonder how God has uniquely made them. I wonder how I can call those things out. It's really fun. It makes community, I don't know, to me it just makes it really fun. It's a really fun task to figure out what are those things? How has God made you? Let me encourage those things. Call those things out of you. I think you can bless your community by doing that, by having that framework, because not everybody does. That's one of the things I hope that this gives you. The second is the last thing I want to say about it is, in order to know, I made a comment about this yesterday and I feel like I butchered it. It's the idea of being secure in your identity. The more you know yourself, you know what God says about you, and you know who God has made you to be, how He's wired you, I think it allows you to feel more secure in your identity. When you can sit across from somebody and know, hey, I'm complete already. I don't need anything else. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be in want. The Lord, Jesus has provided a way for me. I know what He says about me. He's proved it with His life, His death and resurrection. I know that I'm an adopted son or daughter. I know how God has wired me, and I'm still learning. I can sit across from you, and I don't need you to validate me. I can just be here with you, sitting across this theoretical table. I can be fully present with you. I can love you, because I don't need you to fulfill me. I've got what I need. Again, Strength Finders 2.0 is not a Christian thing, it's a secular thing, but I hope that you'll find, I think what I've experienced is that it can help you understand more who God has made you to be and feel that sense of security. That's one of the best things you can bring to a searching, hungry world looking for identity. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So, in your season of loneliness per se, and since it's harder to feel, how would you know yourself if you don't have anything to, it feels like you have nothing on, like you're absent. So if there's nothing to know, how would you get out of that? What practices?
I'm not sure. I think I mentioned it yesterday, continuing with the disciplines, staying in the Word, reminding yourself of the truth, staying in community around people who can remind you of truth and walk with you, who have that same perspective of they know who they are in Christ and they're on the same journey alongside you of learning who God has made them to be, can call out those things in you and remind you of those things as you're in the midst of a hard time, the dark night of the soul, as St. John called it. I don't know that I have much more of an answer than that, to be honest. Yeah. And the good news is, even when you, I don't know if the right way to phrase it, even when you are numb, God is not. Even when you're not faithful, God is. I would say that's what I've experienced. Any other questions about that before we move on? Yeah?
Would you say you like the way you know yourself is by knowing Jesus?
Yes. Similar to that comment. I learned that from A.W. Tozer as a book. I think it's either Pursuit of the Holy or Pursuit of God. He just talks about how, like, if God is who he says he is, then his thoughts and what he says are the most important. So by knowing Jesus, what he did for me and what he says about me is the most important. That is actually the only way to know myself, my true self. That make sense? You don't seem convinced.
No, I'm never convinced, so don't worry about it.
Fair enough. Anything else? Any other comments? All right, well, if nothing else, thanks for listening. It was really awesome for me to process through all that stuff. Okay, so today, get back to my notes. I want to pick up where we left off with the Strength Finders, and I want to stop talking and actually give you an opportunity to talk. So, let me see what time it is. 11:24. Okay. The way I foresee this going, I want to give you the opportunity to not only share with each other, but then also as a group, pour into each other. You guys are about halfway through your time here. And if you have eyes to see it, you are still building this group of community that you have for this time. And I hope that this type of conversation might actually be a catalyst to launch you into the next step, the next level of depth, by sharing who you are, some of your strengths, and allowing your community to speak into you. So what I'd like to do is invite you up one at a time. There we go. And I would just like you to share two things, if you're willing. I guess you don't have to. I'm not going to make you, but I would encourage you to. And I'd like you to share something from that, reading that report, doing this exercise. It doesn't need to be long. It could be 30 seconds. What's something you learned about yourself? And I guess second, these things probably, I was thinking about them separately, but they go together. Or they can go together. Pick one of your top 5. It doesn't have to be, they do put them in order and what they assess as your number 1, but I'm not going to get lost on whether or not that actually is your number 1 strength. Pick one of your top 5 that maybe resonated with you the most, or maybe it's the thing that spurred you on to learn something about yourself. And what we're going to do, the reason why I wanted your book here, is I want you to go, so let's say your number 1 is relator. So I want you to bring your book up here with you, and I want you to go find a relator. If you look here, they have all the strengths listed right here, and they're in alphabetical order. So if you'd come up here to the front, tell us what you learned about yourself. Pick that top 5, so let's say it's relator, for example. Relator starts on page 133. So if you come up here to the group, tell us it's on page 133, because I want us as a group to read through that first paragraph underneath whatever strength it is that you pick. So what we'll do here, I think what we're going to try, you come up, pick your strength, let's say it's relator. I want you to read through that paragraph. We're going to read along with you. And then that's it. Turn it over to the group. And I would like, we'll just say one of you, to speak in, whether you're close to this person, however you've experienced. What I want you to do is if you've seen this or could see how this matches up with the person sharing, I just want you to call that out. I want you to affirm, how have you seen that? Or how are you seeing that? That make sense? Now the big question is, who wants to go first? There we go.
Wow, this is kind of weird. Okay.
Deep breath. We're all on your team.
Hi, Abby. So something I learned, which I thought was completely different, but it could just be the answers I picked. But something I learned is that I like to jump into things more before I think about them, which is weird because I feel like I spend a lot of time thinking, which is also weird. But my number 1 was activator, so it's on page 29.
Cool. So let's all go to page 29. I'm also happy to read the paragraph if you don't want to read it, but if you do.
All right. And so it starts with, when can we start? This is a recurring question in your life. You are impatient for action. You may concede that analysis. Wow. You may concede that analysis has its uses, or the debate and discussion can occasionally yield some valuable insights. But deep down, you know that only action is real. Only action can make things happen. Only action leads to performance. Once a decision is made, you cannot not act. Others may worry that there are still some things we don't know, but this doesn't seem to slow you. If the decision has been made to go across town, you know that the fastest way to get there is to go stoplight to stoplight. You are not going to sit around waiting until all the lights have turned green. Besides, in your view, action and thinking are not opposites. In fact, guided by your activator theme, you believe that action is the best device for learning. You make a decision, you take action, you look at the result, and you learn. This learning informs your next action and your next. How can you grow if you have nothing to react to? Well, you believe you can't. You must put yourself out there. You must take the next step. It is the only way to keep your thinking fresh and informed. The bottom line is this. You know you will be judged not by what you say, not by what you think, but by what you get done. This does not frighten you, it pleases you.
Great. Well done.
Thank you. It was kind of tricky with the first half.
Yeah, it's all good. All right, community. How have you seen this gift of not overthinking, taking action? How do you see that?
So I was the first one to do dishes, or like
I love it.
a task like, that no one like is like up for grabs. So I was the first one to go and do it.
Love it.
Yeah, she's a leader for sure. She's like, yeah, she's legit. She knows how to lead too. She's not a procrastinator, she just gets it done, whatever. She needs to do it, she does it.
I love you guys.
We love you.
Aww.
I think we talked a lot about it in Puerto Rico, like you're a leader. And so I think you also, like, especially in the sense of leader, you take initiative of like being the first one to go do dishes or, yeah, I'm just like being like, okay guys, like, what's up? Like, what are we gonna do? Like, let's start this now. So I think you do a good job of initiating.
For sure.
Thanks, guys.
Where's it going?
It's awesome. Great job. Who wants to go next?
I kind of want to get over.
Let's go.
That was my
That's the way I am in like school projects. I'm like, let's go. Public speaking. Let's get up there. Let's get it.
First, in the group presentation, you had nobody to be judged.
There you go. See, that's that activator right there talking. I love it. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Something I learned about myself is that I can be selective with my relationships. So I would rather have like one good friend rather than like 5 friends with like a surface deep relationship. I would rather have a friendship that I can like go to them for everything and like, I don't know, pour into each other the same. I got Relator as my first one, and that's on page 133. Relator describes your attitude toward relationships. In simple terms, the Relator theme pulls you towards people you already know. You do not necessarily shy away from meeting new people. In fact, you may have other themes that cause you to enjoy the thrill of turning strangers into friends. But you do derive a great deal of pleasure and strength from being around your close friends. You are comfortable with intimacy. Once the initial connection has been made, you deliberately encourage a deepening of the relationship. You want to understand their feelings, their goals, their fears, and their dreams, and you want them to understand yours. You know that this is a kind of closeness. This kind of closeness implies a certain amount of risk, but you might be taken advantage of, but you are willing to accept that risk. For you, a relationship has value only if it is genuine, and the only way to know that is to entrust yourself to the other person. The more you share with each other, the more you risk together, the more each of you proves your caring is genuine. These are your steps toward real friendship, and you take them willingly.
Love it.
Definitely take them willingly. You're very excited to like
I also see like you always want like deep conversations. Like when even when we're in like a big group, like we're always like talking about something like deep, and I can like see that like you thrive on that. You like it to be like we're actually connecting, and it's not just like, oh, what's your favorite color? It's like,
Yeah.
tell me your deepest dark.
Relator is my number one. I don't know you that well, but one of the things I would tell you, I discovered this when I was in college. Became a Christian at 16, and I just thought every relationship that you're supposed to have is supposed to go deep. It's supposed to be, they use the word intimacy. I thought every relationship, if it's going right, should be intimate. And that's not true.
Yeah.
By definition, they're actually few and far between. And we need people that we need all kinds of relationships, acquaintance, casual, and intimate relationships. So I would encourage you, if you haven't already figured that out, don't try to take all of them, but it's such a great gift to be able to build those type of relationships. So anyway, I'm glad you have that gift.
Yes.
Yeah.
Glad you have like this too.
Thank you. Are we supposed to pick our favorite or number one?
No, you don't have to pick your number one. It's whatever one you want to share.
Okay.
Could be favorite. Doesn't have to be favorite. Just be the one that you're like, you know what, I'm going to share this one.
Okay.
Totally up to you. You get to choose. All right, who's next? Come on up.
Go Ashton!
Ashton, yes.
Hey, my name is Ashton. I've been sober for wrong group. Sorry.
Good for you.
Hi, Ashton.
I think one of the things that I learned actually doesn't have to do with this theme, but I thought it was interesting that it was like that one of my themes talked about being able to find the small ones, because I feel like sometimes I just want to strive for the big win and not the small ones. So I thought that was interesting. But the theme I'm going to share is strategic, which was my third, and it's on page 153.
153.
The strategic theme enables you to sort through the clutter and find the best route. It is not a skill that can be taught, it is a distinct way of thinking, a special perspective on the world at large. This perspective allows you to see patterns where others simply see complexity. Mindful of these patterns, you play out alternative scenarios, always asking, what if this happened? Okay, well, what if this happened? This recurring question helps you see around the next corner. There you can evaluate accurately the potential obstacles, guided by where you see each path leading. You start to make selections. You discard the paths that lead nowhere. You discard the paths that lead straight into resistance. You discard the paths that lead into a fog of confusion. You cull and make selections until you arrive at the chosen path, your strategy. Armed with your strategy, you strike forward. This is your strategic theme at work. What if, select, strike.
Yesterday when I was cutting your hair, that was pretty much exactly what we did. Or more just like, I'd be like, well, what do I do? And you're like, well, just do it. Like, start here and then just do it. And I was like, but what if this? And then you were like, no. Like, just start here and then just go. And it was just funny because that's kind of just exactly how you work, but you did it in a very graceful and encouraging way, but also in a way that was like, it was just like, pushed me to go and do it, so.
I definitely think you find small wins, or like, you definitely look towards the positive in things, especially like when we're going to all these different churches, learning from like different pastors, like the way that they lead, find like the good things about their leagues, how the good things about their beliefs, rather than like looking at what you don't agree with. I think that's really sweet.
Ashton, I hope that as you exercise your strategic gift, that it causes you to be intentional. I don't know if you consider yourself an intentional person or not, but I think those things are similar. And as you go through your life, strategy is such a great thing in business and ministry elsewhere. Make your plans, but hold them before the Lord. Bring them to Him with an open hand. So, yeah. All right, next. Just come on up. You don't have to raise your hand.
Okay. So, something I learned about myself is that, like, with all of the different words that I got, they all kind of relate to being a journalist. And, like, especially with the word individualization. Individualization is, I'll go over it in a second, but it's basically like where I find each person like interesting and I see all of their core values and details. And like as a journalist, you kind of have to know all of the details and like all of the specifics and everything. And I really enjoy the specifics. And I had never really considered being a journalist. And so I feel like that would be something that maybe I'll look into.
Yeah, that's great.
Because I find it interesting. So with that, on page 109, individualization. Your individualization theme leads you to be intrigued by the unique qualities of each person. You're impatient with generalizations or types because you don't want to obscure what is special and distinct about each person. Instead, you focus on the differences between individuals. You instinctively observe each person's style, each person's motivation, and how each thinks and how each builds relationships. You hear the one-of-a-kind stories in each person's life. This theme explains why you pick your friends just the right birthday gift. Why you know that one person prefers praise in public and another detests it. And why you tailor your teaching style to accommodate one person's need to be shown and another's desire to figure it out as I go. Because you are such a keen observer of other people's strengths, you can draw out the best in each person. This individualization theme also helps you build productive teams. While some search around for the perfect team structure or process, you know instinctively that the secret to great teams is casting by individual strengths, so that everyone can do a lot of what they do well.
Awesome. It's a great strength.
I think it's so funny that it says like, figure it out as I go, because I say that all the time. And I was like, oh, I'll figure it out. And you're always right there to slow me down and be like, hey, we can talk through it too. We can just figure it out together. You're not alone in that. And I really appreciate that. You taught me like just how to open up, but also like so much humility when it comes to seeing other people's feelings and how everything we do can affect somebody. And you see that and you really want to make sure that everything you do affects somebody for the better.
I'm stoked for you. I'm stoked particularly for the people that are going to be in your life for the rest of your life. Whether it's people you're intentionally like discipling, mentoring, whether it's your own future kids someday, whatever. This gift, what it reminds me of is the true goal with mentoring. There's a book called Iron Sharpens Iron. It's all about mentoring. The temptation with mentoring is to create mini-me's. Got a younger guy who's following me, and I make him just like me. I get him interested in things because I have influence in his life. I get him interested in things that I'm interested in, etc. But that's not actually the goal of a mentor. The goal of a mentor is to practice individualization and to say, who has God made that kid, that guy, that girl to be? I want to facilitate that. I want to call that out of them. And I'm stoked for the people in your life that are going to benefit from your ability to see that in them. So that's a great gift. All right. Nice. Yep. Next. All right, Quentin. My dad's name is Quentin, so I like you already. Let's go.
Oh my God.
So one thing that I learned, it came from number 4 was context, and it's just like looking at the past to help with the future. And I thought that was kind of cool. I didn't really notice I did that. So I'm gonna look at my number 2, which was empathy. So you can sense the emotions of those.
Hang on. What page are you on, bro?
Sorry, my bad.
No, you're good.
85.
85. The thing is, if I don't read along with you, then I'll lose it. Yeah.
Okay, is everybody there?
Take it away.
Yeah, you can sense the emotions of those around you, You can feel what they are feeling as though their feelings are your own. Intuitively, you are able to see the world through their eyes and share their perspective. You do not necessarily agree with each person's perspective. You do not necessarily feel pity for each person's predicament. This would be sympathy, not empathy. You do not necessarily condone the choices each person makes, but you do understand. This instinctive ability to understand is powerful. You hear the unvoiced questions, you anticipate the need where others grapple for words, you seem to find the right words in the right tone. You help people find the right phrases to express their feelings to themselves as well as others, and you help them give voice to their emotional life. For all these reasons, other people are drawn to you.
I think it's really cool that you have empathy. I feel like people often see empathy as a sign of weakness, but I have grown up seeing empathy as a sign of strength. And so with that, like, just as an encouragement, like, this is such a strength. Like, you get to see people and be with them and what they're going through, and I think it's super cool. And I feel like you do that all the time. Yeah, I can see that. Because, like, for me, like, when I see a guy, like, I don't have any emotions, I'm strong, like, that makes me tough, I don't show any emotion, you know? But you have this ability to be, like, it's like quiet strength, you know? And to express those emotions in a way that builds everybody up and just share. And I mean, being the youngest person here, like, that is so cool that you're able to come here and just empathize with everybody. And we're all in different walks of life.
What a great strength in the pursuit of, as we talked about a bit this morning, the first part. If people don't feel seen, if they don't feel like they can trust you, or if you understand them to some degree, how can they receive anything you have to give them? What a great, man, I wish I had more of this, honestly. This is not a weakness. This is a great strength in the pursuit of winning people over to follow Jesus. So, it's a sweet strength, man.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Let's go.
Something I thought was interesting was that one of mine was adaptability, and I was surprised that was one of my top ones because I would say I'm fairly adaptable, but I would not have like picked that and been like, oh yeah, that's one of my top ones. I thought that was interesting. The one I was going to share is also empathy. Do you want me to read it again?
No, that's all right.
Since we just read it, no, you don't have to read it.
Okay, so yeah.
You got it.
I don't even know where to start. You're so intentional, and you love so big and so well, but it's not like manufactured love. Like it's genuine. It's from Jesus, and that's evident. And you just emit His light, and it's really refreshing. And yeah, you're super cool, and I like it a lot. Thanks.
I think I can see it too a lot of like, I mean, we're roommates, so I like hear your phone calls with your siblings back at home, and it's like, it's sweet to see like how you like care for them, especially even just like Gabriel and Shiloh. Like you definitely show a lot of like empathy and love towards them, like, and it's just, yeah, you're a way better person than I am.
I think the part where it's like you don't you don't understand what someone's going through, but you do understand. Because I feel like I can like talk to you about things that you really don't even have like a clue about, but you like you get it.
I love your comment to go to adaptability, actually, instead of empathy. First of all, this isn't a perfect test. I was going to say that later. I'll say it now. It's not a perfect test. It's a man-made thing. Second, you're not a perfect test taker. So when you're answering those 200 questions, you maybe didn't answer it the way you should have, or the most genuine, accurate reflection of you. That's all possible. However, the point of the test isn't necessarily to call out the things that you already know about yourself. It is to say, hey, based on the way you answered the questions, you might actually have this strength that you haven't tapped into yet. But if you practice that and exercise that, remember that formula was talent times investment equals strength. So the investment piece is time, is choosing to exercise that strength. So that might be part of the answer, just as an FYI. I'm glad you said that so that I could say that out loud. But great job. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right.
I find it really funny that you said something you learned about yourself because I already knew all of this.
Hey, it's fine.
Because my first and my last are strategic and ideation, and I love psychology, and so I've always been like one to look at the things I do and things I like to do, why I do it.
Yep.
And so doing all of this, I was like, yeah, that sounds like me.
It's great.
Things that I've noticed before. So we already read strategic, and one of the bits that it gave me that I found really relatable is pattern recognition and just like seeing things, and then reducing elaborate ideas, which I love to do, to take like big concepts and being like, okay, what really is this?
Yeah.
And then ideation. So people simply fascinate you, which I find really funny. Anyway, ideation. You are fascinated.
Hang on. Ideation. What page is that on?
101.
101. Perfect. Give everybody a second to get there. All right, take it away.
All right. You are fascinated by ideas. What is an idea? An idea is a concept of the best explanation of the most events. You are delighted when you discover beneath the complex surface an elegantly simple concept to explain why things are the way they are. An idea is a connection. Yours is the kind of mind that is always looking for connections. So you are intrigued when seemingly disparate phenomena can be linked by an obscure connection. An idea is a new perspective on familiar challenges. You reveal in taking the world we all know and turning it around so we can view it from a strangely enlightening angle. You love all the ideas because they are profound, because you are novel, because they are clarifying, because they are contrary, because they are bizarre. For all these reasons, you deserve a jolt of energy. No, you derive a jolt of energy whenever a new idea occurs to you. Others may label you creative or original or conceptual or even smart, perhaps all of these. Who can be sure? What are you sure of? What you are sure of is that ideas are thrilling, and on most days, this is enough.
I definitely 110% see that in you. Like literally, any conversation that we have, and there's like the silliest idea that comes out of your mind. Like I'm sitting there thinking, where did that thought come from? Like I'm trying to understand what you're saying, and I'm like, huh? And you're just like, yeah. And I'm like, what? What? You don't want to go further into this? I don't understand. And you're just like, yeah. And like I feel like you're just, yeah. It's cool because it says like you're okay with just the idea of that, you know. And, like I can't give a specific example of something that you've been excited about, but like I feel like you'll give an idea and just be excited about the idea, and I think that's cool that like we have like you and Caitlin in the same room because you're the idea person and she's the go activator person, and like it's just so it's kind of cool to connect that, and I didn't see that before now, so it's cool.
I'm curious, when you're in a group and you see things that maybe others don't, do you have a tendency to share those things, or do you keep it to yourself? I'm the same way. That guy, a mentor of mine in college, Hooley, he noticed that in me too. This ideation is not my particular strength, but I at least can connect in that way. And he pulled me aside and challenged me, hey, it's good for you to process those things and exercise wisdom. I'm curious if that's going to be one of your spiritual gifts with Doug next week. But serve the group by bringing it to the group. We need that. We need your observations, because not all of us are picking up on the things you're picking up on. Does that make sense? If you're able to see all this stuff going on and boil down, okay, here's what this is about. Sometimes the group needs that help. Does that make sense? So anyway, just encourage you with that. Great job. All right.
I don't really feel like I learned anything. Kind of just put stuff into words, and I was like, oh, that's true.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I chose belief as my number one.
Belief.
I wasn't into empathy, but then
Yeah, belief's good. What page is that on?
45.
45. You also can share, if you want to share the one that somebody else has already said, it's totally fine. It's up to you.
Well, then I was reading through this, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I'm just saying in general, for everybody. Don't feel like as we get further down, like, oh, everybody's already said mine. That's okay.
If you possess a strong belief thing, you have certain core values that are enduring. These beliefs vary from one person to another, but ordinarily, your belief thing causes you to be family-oriented, altruistic, even spiritual, and to value responsibility and high ethics, both in yourself and others. Pause. I thought this one was interesting because this isn't like a Christian-based test. But, this hits the nail on the head when it comes to my faith. These core values affect your behavior in many ways. They give your life meaning and satisfaction. In your view, success is more than money and prestige. They provide you with direction, guiding you through the temptations and distractions of life toward a consistent set of priorities. This consistency is the foundation for all your relationships. Your friends call you dependable. I know where you stand, they say. Your belief makes you easy to trust. It also demands that you find work that meshes with your values. Your work must be meaningful and must matter to you. And guided by your belief thing, it will matter only if it gives you a chance to live out your values.
I feel like this is pretty accurate about you. I think even you have such a strong belief that even when we go to the different churches that we go to, you're always so quick to ask questions, and it's not in an accusatory way, but it's in a way to for clarification and to learn more. And I think that is it's so important and so cool that you just know it is true, but you still have an open mind to learn. And so I think this is just knowing you for about a month now, pretty accurate about you.
Yeah, I respect your ability to question. And I feel like not only find things out for yourself, but help others find things out about themselves.
That's what that altruistic part is. It means to be concerned about other people without. You did? Yeah.
Yeah, you're just really cool.
Great job. Thank you. All right. Who's next?
Yes, you.
Kind of like Hannah and Abby, I feel like I didn't really learn anything about myself. I feel like I'm pretty introspective, and I kind of analyze myself. But the one that I chose was input.
Input.
It is on page 113.
Okay. Sam, would you say that being pretty introspective, were you, did your 5 all make sense to you, or 3 out of your 5?
Yeah.
What would you say?
yeah, I like saw them all and I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. That was perfect.
You're inquisitive. You collect things. You might collect information, words, facts, books, and quotations. Or you might collect tangible objects such as butterflies, baseball cards.
Porcelain dolls? That you, Sam?
No, the butterflies.
He makes
Butterflies.
butterflies and gives them to everyone.
Dude, that's
In
hilarious.
my journal, I have like probably 50.
Oh, I love that. That's who would have put butterflies as in a book, but that's amazing.
Baseball cards, porcelain dolls, or
Sepia.
photographs.
Yeah, it's like that. Isn't that like old photographs that have like a yellow tone to them, kind of thing?
Why would you want to?
Antique photos.
Yeah, we know.
No, that's so you, Sam.
Whatever you collect it because it interests you. And yours is the kind of mind that finds so many things interesting. The world is exciting precisely because of its infinite variety and complexity. If you read a great deal, it's not necessarily to refine your theories, but rather to add more information to your archives. If you like to travel, it's because each new location offers novel artifacts and facts. These can be acquired and then stored away. Why are they worth storing? At the time of storing, it is often hard to say exactly when or why you might need them, but who knows when they might become useful. With all those possible uses in mind, you really don't feel comfortable throwing anything away, so you keep acquiring and compiling and filing stuff away. It's interesting, it keeps your mind fresh, and perhaps one day some of it will prove valuable.
I'd definitely say it, like when we went, like before we went on that hike and we went into that little, I don't even remember what it was called, a little research place, and you were just like, yep, reading all the facts about all of the little things, and it was just like, what is this? Grass. What is this? I don't even know. It was like bark. Cool. Like, it was funny because you just were like taking note of all the little things. And you just walked around every little spot and checked all the boxes and you're like, Like that's, yeah. And I feel like that's what makes you like so fun to be around is you have so much to offer because you just store it all in here. And it doesn't have to be like physically collecting, but you mentally collecting. And it can be like about our lives or about the world. And you just have so much to share with everyone and you want to share. And I feel like that's the best part about it is you're willing to just give everything to everybody. And it's just great to see.
The one thing that I think of is in Shrek when he's like, I'm an onion, I've got layers.
Are you saying he's a green ogre?
Yes!
Nice.
But it's true, like you do have so many different layers of like, oh, you like to surf, and then you're building shelves over there, and then I'm teaching you how to crochet, and you're making butterflies. It's so random. Very like cool, complex, but also such a simple person at the same. Like you have just like a. This is contradicting what I said, but like I don't know, it's something cool about you that you have so many cool different things of like layers of different things that you can do, but also like you're a very just like sure person, if that makes sense.
Sam, I hope the Lord uses your inquisitive nature to be inquisitive about other people. Again, sorry to be a broken record, but people have to know that you are interested in them to receive. Again, to be a fan of them, to be on their team. That's a way that you can communicate that is by being curious about them, being interested in them. I hope the Lord uses that to build relationships for His purpose. So, good job, man. All right. Naomi. Hey, you guys are doing great, and I would just encourage you to keep it up. That's it. Go on.
Sound like a broken record. I didn't really learn a lot about myself. Personality tests are kind of my thing. I love to know myself so I can be better. And so everything I got, it was like purple and then straight orange. And I was like, yeah, that's
Hey, I'm totally fine with the answer of this, like confirming things that, and building towards confirming, knowing what you already know. That's fantastic.
The one thing is, it said I like to read, which I don't.
Maybe you
so
should try.
Maybe I should.
Maybe there's a deep-seated, you just haven't unlocked that part of your life yet.
Awaken a reader.
I think you should.
But my number one was Achiever.
That happened to me, by the way.
It's
Sorry.
100%
Go ahead.
me. Sorry, what were you saying?
I said that happened to me. I wasn't a reader, and then turns out I actually am.
Oh,
Achiever. Sorry to interrupt you. Go
no,
ahead.
you're totally fine.
Yeah.
Guys, watch me be a reader now.
Yeah?
I actually ordered a book off of Amazon.
See? Look at that. It's coming. Here it comes. Round 2.
Achiever's the first one, and it's on 25.
25. Give me a minute.
Okay. Your Achiever theme helps explain your drive. Achiever describes a constant need for achievement. You feel as if every day starts at 0. By the end of the day, you must achieve something tangible in order to feel good about yourself. And by every day, you mean every single day. Workdays, weekends, vacations. No matter how much you feel you deserve a day of rest, if the day passes without some form of achievement, no matter how small, you will feel dissatisfied. You have an internal fire burning inside you that pushes you to do more, achieve more. After each accomplishment is reached, the fire dwindles for a moment, but very soon it rekindles itself, forcing you towards the next accomplishment. Your relentless need for achievement might not be logical, it might not even be focused, but it will always be with you. As an achiever, you must learn to live with this whisper of discontent. It does have its benefits. It brings you the energy you need to do long work hours without burning out. It is a jolt you can always count on to get you started on new tasks and new challenges. It is the power supply that causes you to set up the pace and define the levels of productivity for your work group. It is the theme that keeps you moving.
Nice.
Drive is I think such a good word to describe you. Because it bleeds into so many different aspects of your life. You're competitive, whoa, I'm scared, but also you're fine, you're perfect. But also I think that that drive you implement it in the way you act, and it helps your passion to grow for Jesus and also grow closer to others. Guys, last night she came up to me and she was like, I really want to be intentional with you and take you out to coffee and grow this relationship. And I felt like that was that's kind of demonstrative of her drive, because she doesn't stay stagnant. She wants to move and grow, and I just really appreciate you, and I look up to you.
That's great.
You're so cute.
Oh my gosh, don't, I'm nervous.
I think I'm cheating because I've known you for a long time, but I don't think I've ever met anybody in my life, including your dad, who works as hard as you do, so I think that's very accurate.
I think it was cool, even on our walk yesterday, just to hear how driven you are about wanting to lead, and just talking about how many places you've led and all the things that you've done, and just I was kind of walking and just thinking about it and being in awe of just how much you want to just push forward and keep going and keep going and keep going. We're here, okay, what's the next step? Okay, I'm already thinking about the next step, now what? There's just always a continue, just keep going. I don't want to stop here, it's cool. Thanks, guys.
I'm somebody that's a thinker, and I'll sit and think about something for a long time. There's pros and cons to that. I need people like you in my life to help me say, okay, come on, good idea, let's go. If it fails, that's okay, we'll try again, we'll learn from it. So similar to the strategic thought, what I encourage you with is it's a great strength, and make sure that you hold it before God with an open hand. Okay, God, I'm gonna go this way, but ultimately, Lord, you direct my steps. Great job. All right. Reagan.
Something I learned was I've taken personality tests before, but they usually just tell me that I'm a control freak, and so it was interesting to see 4 of my 5 were relational ones, and I picked harmony, and it's 97, and so as I was reading it, I at first was do I really do this, and then Seth pointed out to me, he's you do intentionally avoid conflict or discussions where you might disagree with people, and I think, yeah, I can see that. So you look for areas of agreement. In your view, there is little to be gained from conflict or friction, so you seek to hold them to a minimum. When you know that people are around, you hold different views, you try to find a common ground. You try to steer them away from confrontation and towards harmony. In fact, harmony is one of your guiding values. You can't quite believe how much time is wasted by people trying to impose their values on others. Wouldn't we all be more productive if we kept our opinions in check instead of looking for
Consensus, yep.
And support? You believe we would, and you live by that belief. When others are sounding off about their goals, their claims, and their
Fervently
held opinions, you hold your peace. When others strike out in a direction, you will willingly, in the service of harmony, modify your own objectives to merge with theirs as long as their basic values do not clash with yours. When others start to argue about their pet theory or concepts, you steer clear of that debate, preferring to talk about practical, down-to-earth matters on which you can all agree. In your view, we are all in the same boat, and we need this boat to get where we're going. It's a good boat. There's no need to rock it just to show that you can.
It's a good boat here at Life School.
I find this crazy because in high school I was voted most opinionated, and so it's interesting to see how that's changed, I guess.
I think it's like, I feel like it's a balance because you like to have like unity and peace with others, but like we also like know where you stand. Like I think people like know like who you are and what you would stand for, but also like you want to get along with everybody and you don't want everybody going at each other's throats, but like
Yeah, I think when you're comfortable with people, that's when you feel comfortable to open up about your opinions. And then when you don't know someone as well, you kind of just want it to be peaceful. And not to become and be a good person with them, and I think that's really cool.
Harmony is one of mine. One of my, I would say, like, bottom of the 5. And what I've learned about harmony sounds like harmony is not being a pushover. Doesn't mean you don't have convictions. But it does mean that I definitely can have strong convictions, especially like at work. I can have strong opinions about which way we should go. However, it is valuable, even in the midst of having strong opinions, to see the greater picture and to see, hey, especially in the midst of conflict in a group, it's not worth sacrificing the group for the conflict. The ability to decipher and navigate through, hey, how can we, in the midst of our differing opinions, get along and accomplish a goal together. So being a harmonizer doesn't necessarily mean being a pushover. You can have strong convictions, but you still have an ability to bring people together. So there you go. Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I actually wasn't surprised by the results of the tests because I have a huge identity process passed behind me in the last 12 months. Because like 12 months ago, I was like, oh, I don't know my identity. I was in the dating phase, and while I was dating, I realized, oh, I don't know myself. And then a huge identity process started, and I got myself now in the last 12 months. And now I did the test and was like, yeah, I was not surprised because I had this process in the past. But I'm still have to get strong in my identity, and that's cool to make a test to realize, okay, I'm not wrong with my identity, but I can improve myself in this identity. And I've chosen my number 4. It's futuristic. It's on page 93. And yeah, because even if I have a rough past, I don't look back. I'm learning from the past, but I'm looking forward, and I have a vision, and I want to build God's kingdom in the future, and that's the reason I've chosen futuristic. Wouldn't it be great if you're the kind of person who loves to peer over the horizon? The future fascinates you as if it were projected on the wall. You see in detail what the future might hold, and this detailed picture keeps pulling you forward into tomorrow. While the exact content of the picture will depend on your other strengths and interests. A better product, a better team, a better life, a better world. It will always be inspirational to you. You're a dreamer who sees visions of what could be and who cherish these visions. When the present proves too frustrating and the people around you too pragmatic, you conjure up your visions of the future and they energize you. They can energize others too. In fact, very often people look to you to describe your visions of the future. They want a picture of that can rise their sights and thereby their spirits. You can paint it for them. Practice. Choose your words carefully. Actually, I disagree with the sentence. I'm not choosing my words carefully. When I want to say something, I'm straight. Make the picture as vivid as possible. People will want to latch on the hope you bring.
Yeah, I mean, ever since I met you, it was always cool to just have your character of wanting to understand the identity of you being loved by God. You know you're loved by God, but then also like just how futuristic and how energized I got by you sharing like what God had envisioned for you and what plans you want to make for the future, and how like every day is a step closer. It's just been like great, especially to like live with you and be in the same room as you, to just like hear those things and be reminded each day of like one step closer of what God wants. And it's just been something that's been really cool to see, that even in like the down moments, it's still in your mind one step closer. So it's been really cool to see and hang out around. So
yeah, I definitely see you being futuristically minded. Like even with your ankle and stuff like that, you're constantly like, oh, I can't wait to go skateboarding like another day, and it just constantly does that. It's like definitely, you're always looking for the good in the future, not like, oh, what if this happens? I'm scared of like what's gonna happen in the future. It's all like, I'm excited to go do this in the future. I mean, that's just really cool.
I also think that you encourage others to dream. I was thinking about when you're helping with the house, like gardening, and you're just sharing in depth of your dream for the House of Freedom. And in that, you were encouraging me. You didn't even mean to, but you were encouraging me to like continue dreaming about what God's put in my life and not like put any limits on it. And also think about like how that privilege is to come about. And I just think that's a really cool gift.
I think this can also like say a lot about like your personality and how you like just like love life so much and like just go with the flow. Because I think back to when we picked you up at the airport and we all had like so many bags, but then you just come out with your teeny little bag and your Curious George hat, and I was just like, what in the world is this kid doing? I was like,
That's so funny.
your whole bag was the size of my backpack. I was like, it was, yeah.
You know what I love is when I asked that question yesterday about why should I hire you, your answer, you remember? Your answer was something along the, I can't remember exactly, but it was along the lines of what you can bring, the future vision of where you can take this company, this position. Before you took this test, you were thinking about the future when you answered that question. So very clearly, yes, you have this strength. And I, as a guy who, I love what you said about, it's not that the past is worthless, it's worth learning from and then taking into the future. I'm the kind of guy that needs you in my life because I get stuck in the past. I'll sit there and think about it for way too long. I need guys like you in my life to help say, cool, let's learn from that and let's go. Yeah. So that's awesome. Great.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Nice. Isabella. You've taken this before, right?
I have.
Or is it the same or was it different this time?
They were actually different.
Okay.
Which was like, I probably took this like
last September
Mhm.
or something.
Yeah.
So it was really weird how much it changed,
Mm.
which was probably worth it, I guess. I'm gonna read the thing first.
Mm.
So I picked learner. So that's page 121. You love to learn. The subject matters that interest you most will be determined by your other themes and experiences. Whatever the subject, you will always be drawn to the process of learning. The process, more than the content or the result, is especially exciting for you. You are energized by the steady and deliberate journey from ignorance to competence. The thrill of the first few facts, the early efforts to recite or practice what you have learned, the growing confidence of a skill mastered. This is the process that entices you. Your excitement leads you to engage in adult learning experiences, yoga or piano lessons, or graduate classes. It enables you to thrive in dynamic work environments where you are asked to take on short project assignments and are expected to learn a lot about the new subject matter in a short period of time, and then move on to the next one. This learner thing does not necessarily mean that you seek to become the subject matter expert or that you are striving for the respect that accompanies a professional or academic credentials. The outcome of the learning is less significant than the getting there. I thought this was interesting because I feel like the way that they describe it, like, I've always just seen this as like, oh, this is ADHD. Like, this isn't like a good thing.
Mm.
And so, like, growing up, I never had like one thing that I really liked, and so I would just like do whatever. And so it was always just like, oh, like she just can't pick one thing. Like she can't focus. But I've never like seen it as like, no, like I just enjoy like learning new processes or things like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just kind of like a new perspective has been cool.
Mm.
I think this can be shown in you on like the way that you are intentional about like when we have speakers come, like you like it's noticeable that you go out of your way to like sit with them at a meal and like talk to them and like try to understand. Like I think back to when we had the whole Dancing with Jesus thing, like you were very intentional about like you went and sat and you tried to understand and you made it like an effort to like go more in depth and understand it more, where some of us just were like, what the crap is this? So I think it's like can be motivating for everybody else to see like how you like make an effort to like understand and learn about things more on like a deeper level than some the rest of us might.
Yeah, I think you're a very like humble learner, and you're not judgmental, and when people are different from you, like that's not a problem. Like we're all in differently, but you're just like you're really cool. Like, but I can't even. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Like you're humble. It was like what Asa said. You have quiet strength. That I think that really, really well wraps up. You're also like funny and cool and like nice
The vibes are just immaculate.
and. Also, you just fit, y'all. Actually, wow.
Related to that.
I think one of the ways that I see you learn is just when we're talking about really random stuff. I feel like I can bring up anything, and when we're talking through it, it's like we're both processing it, but at the same time, like figuring out the answers. And I feel like in a way that's learning, but it's learning is in like I feel like you're learning stuff about me intentionally through just having random conversations, and I really appreciate that.
Great job. All right. Next up.
Okay, I don't actually know how I'm gonna word this, but I want you guys to hear me out. So one thing I learned about myself is that I like issues, but I just wanted to like explain it. So two of mine were restorative and adaptability.
Yeah.
And so, have we read both of those? I don't know.
No, I don't think we've read restorative.
We haven't read restorative.
We did read adaptability, yeah.
So, in adaptability, halfway down, it says,
Unlike some, you don't resent sudden requests or unforeseen detours. You expect them. They're inevitable. Indeed, on some level, you actually look forward to them. You are at heart a very flexible person who can stay productive when demands of work are pulling you in many different directions at once. But then restorative on page 141, the beginning says, you love to solve problems where some are dismayed when they encounter yet another breakdown. You are energized by it. You enjoy the challenge of analyzing the symptoms, identifying what is wrong, and finding the solution. And like, I thought those two were like really similar for me. It's like I'm a very go with the flow person, which brings issues in and of itself because I rarely plan things. But like I enjoy finding like the best, most productive way to deal with those situations. So like I don't resent issues as much as I thought I did because I enjoy like figuring them out.
That's awesome. What a practical strength. That's so great.
I also think I see this in the way that you just like care about mental health and like how you walk that out in your own journey and are continuing to, but also like seeing it in other people of like, oh, like, no, I'm gonna push you and encourage you into like healing and into like knowing yourself and viewing yourself as a human being. But you're not, it's not like you do this at the same time of like, I see this in you and I'm not gonna, I don't want you to stay there. Like I want you to get better. But it's not in like a pressure way. You're just like, I see you and I'm with you and we're gonna get there. And that's super unique.
Yeah, I totally think the like live in the moment but at the same time solve problems things. I see that a lot with like, but you take actions like to do it. Like you think about, oh, like what do I want to solve like in the future, and you take actions, but like slow steps to get there, or to just even like build yourself up or learn something new. And I think it's really cool.
That's awesome. Great job. Anybody else?
So the first part I thought was pretty funny is getting my test back and having all one category. So I got executive, and I thought that was interesting just because like I know like growing up like I always like to achieve things. I like the restorative process of fixing issues and all of that. But I thought it was funny that it was like every single one kind of combined together in a way I wasn't expecting. And one of those oddballs in there was responsibility, which is on page 137. And I just thought this was weird because, you know, like growing up as a pastor's kid, like you're always like taught about responsibility and, you know, be aware of what you're responsible for and not. But I feel like this has been one thing that like God has put in my life that has really driven me out of most dark places that I've been in. It's just like the responsibility of just living for Christ. So I'm going to read it. Your responsibility theme forces you to take the psychological ownership of anything you commit to, and whether large or small, you feel emotionally bound to follow it through to completion. Your good name depends on it. Excuse me. If for some reason you cannot deliver, you automatically start to look for ways to make it up to the other person. Apologies are not enough. Excuses and rationalizations are totally unacceptable. You will not quite be able to live with yourself until you have made the restitution. This consciousness, this near obsession for doing things right, and your impeccable ethics combine to create your reputation, utterly dependable. When ascending new responsibilities, people will look to you first because they know it will get done. When people come to you for help, and they soon will, you must be selective. Your willingness to volunteer may sometimes lead you to take on more than you should.
100% you. I remember we had been here for like a week and I had to leave for my scholarship thing, and I was like, guys, I'm gonna be a bad teammate, I need someone to do my like breakfast setup or whatever, and you automatically just super like, I'll do it, I'm signing up, and like utterly dependable is 100% like a quality that like you scream.
I literally just wrote that down because that is like such a cool trait. That's exactly, I was like utterly dependable. Boaz. Like those just go so well together. And you're considerate and selfless. You always put others' needs before yours, and it's so admirable. And that is such a beautiful quality of what a leader is. And I think that you really are good at showing that. Go Boaz.
Go Boaz. Nice job, Boaz. All right. Anybody else? Yeah, Rudy.
I don't even know what page this is on. Find that. I noticed a lot of the gifts or strings, whatever you call it, they all go together. It's back here. The one that I thought was the most interesting was winning others over, because I don't really care what other people think, which is weird because this was like winning others over and you do care what other people think. So I thought that was interesting, but I also thought it was cool how like all the strengths kind of like work towards like evangelism, which is like what I found out one of my spiritual gifts is. But anyways, winning others over stands for, or I guess woo stands for winning others over. You enjoy the challenge of meeting new people and getting them to like you. Strangers are rarely intimidated to you. On the contrary, strangers can be energizing. You are drawn to them. You want to learn their names, ask them questions, and find some area of common interest so you can strike up a conversation and build rapport. Some people shy away from starting up conversations because they worry about running out of things to say. You don't. Not only are you rarely at a loss of words, you actually enjoy initiating with strangers because you derive satisfaction from breaking the ice and making a connection. Once that connection is made, you're quite happy to wrap it up and move on. There are new people to meet, new rooms to work, new crowds to mingle in. In your world, there are no strangers, only friends you haven't met yet. Lots of them.
This is huge.
That's literally that's insane.
Like that is, yeah. I think back to YWAM, like just seeing you interact with everybody, or how you walked up to some guy and he was like, I have 2 dads, and you're like, so do I. And it's like you just always like there's always like you just have a way that that is evil. So breaks me up. That
I love that like it doesn't matter what circumstance we're in, you're always trying to talk to people, whether it's middle schoolers or like people that I'm scared to even consider talking to. Like it doesn't matter. You're just gonna walk over and you're like, what's up? What's your name? Just continue talking to anybody that you walk past. Like you see every single person as your mission field, and it's the craziest thing for me to process because I don't see it that way. It's really interesting.
I think of last night we're walking to 7-Eleven. Us 3 are walking there, and we're not even on the road yet. He's like, just so you know, if we see a homeless person, we're talking to them. And I was like, all right. But that's just your mindset all the time. And like we pass this lady that's like sitting in the dirt, and you're just like, hey, you're awesome. And like my mind is like, walk fast, don't say anything. But you're
especially in the dark.
Yeah.
It's dark outside.
Yeah, but this is absolutely describes you very, very accurately.
Yeah, I feel like when we're anywhere new, I just like look up and you're just talking to someone.
Yeah.
Like someone we don't know. And it's awesome. It makes me strive to want to do that. And one other thing, I kind of disagree with this part, but at the end there it said, once that connection is made, you are quite happy to wrap it up. You are not. You strive to go so deep with people, and like you want them to feel the love of the Lord coming through you, and you want them to like experience that and be in that place with you, and that's awesome.
I love that. I love that call out. And it doesn't have to be exactly right. I think Zane probably has the gift of woo. I don't know that for sure, but
I think that's his number 1.
there you go.
I know there's positivity in that.
Oh yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm more that we were talking about earlier, relator, where I crave to like have fewer relationships but go really deep. But guys like Zane, doesn't mean he and I process some of this together. It doesn't mean that he doesn't crave deep relationships. It doesn't mean that he just wants to abandon. So I appreciate that call out. But you might be okay with it. It doesn't have to go. For you, it's okay if it doesn't go deep, but it can. You're open to it. And that's an amazing gift, especially if your spiritual gift is evangelism. The ability to quickly, that's something Zane's so good at, I'm guessing you're good at, as everyone seems to be attesting to. The ability to quickly connect with someone on a deep level is awesome. For me, it takes me more time. So it's good for guys like me to be paired with guys like you, guys like Zane, as we try to accomplish a ministry together. I need that on my team. So it's great, man. Good job.
Thank you.
All right. Karis.
Artist. We already read this one, but I'm actually going to read it again. I think because I think when people are reading it out loud, it really helps me visualize like how they're like that. So my number one was belief.
Perfect.
And then my last one was command, which I think belief tied into like all my other things too, but I didn't really learn anything new. Like in a couple ways, I would just read it and I was like, oh yeah, this is reminding me of that, but I think a lot of it is stuff that I like had an idea of about myself, but it's on page 45.
Perfect.
If you possess a strong belief theme, you have certain core values that are enduring. These values vary from one person to another, but ordinarily your belief theme causes you to be family-oriented, altruistic, even spiritual, and to value responsibility and high ethics, both in yourself and others. These core values affect your behavior in many ways. They give your life meaning and satisfaction. In your view, success is more than money and prestige. They provide you with direction, guiding you through the temptations and distractions of life toward a consistent set of priorities. This consistency is the foundation for all your relationships. Your friends call you dependable. I know where you stand, they say. Your belief makes you easy to trust. It also demands that you find work with that meshes with your values. Your work must be meaningful, it must matter to you, and guided by your belief theme, it will matter only if it gives you a chance to live out your values.
I think most definitely the like family oriented and like I know you stand part. Like I think even outside of like your direct family, like even this family, like you're super always like, what's the community doing? How are we gonna shape the community? And then like I know where you stand. Like you definitely stand firm in what you believe, and there's no like you have no trouble wavering from that. Like if someone says something, you're like, why? It's not what I said I believe. So.
I think when it says like your core beliefs or like those things are like affect your behavior, and I think like you live that out so well in a way of just like I think like we just see Jesus in you of just like the only times where I think I don't even know what we're talking about, but then I had said something and then it was like not kind or something, and you were like, wait, and I was like, oh yeah, that was not good. And then it wasn't in like a judgmental way, but it was in more like a convicting or like let's not ever do that again, you know? And so I think it's just like you live it out well too. And I think that's
It's kind of similar reading the comments of like what people say about their values, because it said like what belief sounds like, and it sounds like living by those values, and everything you do is because of who you are. You're not seeking a reward, you're not seeking attention, you're just doing it because it's who you are, and that's why you flourish so much, and that's why it's so cool just to watch you interact with people and with sports or whatever activity we're doing. You're doing it because it's who you are, and you love to do it, and it's just the love you have for life. Thanks.
Good job, Karis. All right. Anybody else? Is that it? I'm not going to make you go, but everybody else might.
Come on, Tor. There you go. Good job.
I had command as my number one, and I was very surprised at that. That's what I was reading through it, and it's like kind of makes sense, but I'm really like to do command. I'm going to do self-assurance because I think this one really resonates with me. On page 145. Self-assurance is similar to self-confidence. In the deepest part of you, you have faith in your strengths. You know that you are able to take risks, able to meet new challenges, able to stake claims, and most important, able to deliver. But self-assurance is more than just self-confidence. Blessed with the theme of self-assurance, you have confidence not only in your abilities, but in your judgment. When you look at the world, you know that your perspective is unique and distinct, and because no one sees exactly what you see, you know that no one can make your decisions for you. No one can tell you what to think. They can guide, they can suggest, but you alone have the authority to form conclusions, make decisions, and act. This authority, this final accountability for the living of your life, does not intimidate you. On the contrary, it feels natural to you. No matter what the situation, you seem to know what the right decision is. This theme lends you an aura of certainty. Unlike many, you are not easily swayed by someone else's arguments, no matter how persuasive they may be. The self-assurance may be quiet or loud, depending on your other themes, but it is solid, it is strong, like the keel of a ship. It withstands many different pressures and keeps you on your course.
Yes, facts. Pretty sure like every single time I have like a big Bible question, I just like ask you because I'm pretty sure you have the right answer. So it's like a biblically sound like reasoning for it.
I think on a personal level, you do a really good job of like understanding your boundaries and like knowing when, like for example, like when your social battery is done and you're like done being with people, you do a really good job of going, okay guys, I'm done. And like being confident in that and like knowing that that's who you are instead of like trying to force something that you're not.
I feel like also it can be interpreted as you're really self-assured in who you are in Jesus. And like in maybe in yourself you're not as sure, but like in Jesus, I know that you know who you are, because it's clear to see you're a leader and you're maybe quieter, but you're really strong about how certain you are about things, and you just know that like I love Jesus and that's who I am, and I'm pursuing God and I'm reading scripture and I'm learning. I'm gonna go in depth because that's who I am. It's cool.
I think you're also very humble about it. Like when I also feel like I could ask you like a question about the Bible and be like, oh, Torah's gonna have like a biblically sound answer, but you do it in a way that is very humble. That's not like, oh yeah, I know everything, but it's just like based on what I've read in the Bible, like this is what it would be, you know. And so yeah, you have a very humble confidence.
I think what I've seen, at least through my interactions with you, it's a little more of the quiet self-assurance, but I really appreciate that because it's always like I can go to Tor and just have a good conversation with Tor and see what he thinks, and it's never like your self-assurance is being like forced on people. It's always super open, super genuine, and it's really like nice to see someone with so much confidence in like their love of Jesus, and it's just really nice.
Well, good job, Tor. All right, I think that was everybody. Right? Taylor, I hate to put you on the spot, but I know I took your book, but do you want to come up here and share yours?
I guess I can.
Well, let's do it. I'll put you on the spot. There you go.
I'll just go with that one. I didn't actually get to read it.
Huh? Well, we're going to read it together then.
We'll read it
Which one is it?
It's input.
Input, okay.
I think like most of these were pretty, I think a lot in my brain. And so it's pretty fun to just like look at these and feel like, oh yeah, I could do that.
Cool.
It's on 113. As I was hearing all of you guys like talk about
talk about yours and like what it looks like for you. Like I was just interesting. I was like, wow, these work in so many different facets. It's funny. According to this, I'm a heartless person.
I don't think it says that.
Listen. I have 0 relationship building and 0 influencing.
Just because you're not in those categories doesn't mean you can't do those things.
I get that. But this was the process. Because I was looking at it as like, oh, I'm input. And like for me, I was like, oh, dude, you're just a numbers dude. Like you don't get it. And so like for this, it was like, oh, you're just a robot. And if you like, for me, I was like, oh wow, like the way I interact with people, like I totally compartmentalize each and every person. Like, okay, this person's this, strengths, weaknesses. It was so fun to look at this and go like, oh man, this is me. And my number one's learner, so that it all paired. Super cool. That's what I found super. Something you learned about yourself. That was the thing I learned about myself. It's like, oh, like these apply in so many different facets, and like you can use those as strengths in every manner, even though it says I have 0 relationship with them skills. So, anyways, we can read input. You are inquisitive. You collect things. You might collect information, words, facts, books, and quotations. Or you might collect tangible objects such as butterflies, baseball cards. Oh, you read this.
Yeah, it's all good. Keep going.
Yep, anyway, sorry. Porcelain dolls or sepia photographs. Whatever you collect it because it interests you, and yours is the kind of mind that finds so many things interesting. The world is exciting precisely because of its infinite variety and complexity. If you read a great deal, it is not necessarily to refine your theories, but rather to add more information to your archives. If you like to travel, it is because each new location offers novel artifacts and facts. These can be acquired and then stored away. Why are they worth storing? At the time of storing, it is often hard to say exactly when or why you might need them, but who knows what they might become useful, or when they might become useful. With all those possible uses in mind, you really don't feel comfortable throwing anything away. So you keep acquiring and compiling and filing stuff away. It's interesting. It keeps your mind fresh, and perhaps one day some of it will prove valuable.
I think this is like dead on, solely based on the conversations I overhear with you and Andrew in the bed. I'm always listening, by the way. Just I'm like, gosh, you guys are so cool. Because they're back there and you're like, do you think, oh, I'm raising that? And I'm like, what does Andrew think? Or you'll go on about like the way our muscles work. I'm like, that has this information in my brain. I'm like, we do. It's just cool.
It's fun. It's funny.
I think you're very you're like you listen to somebody to like actually listen. You're not listening to respond. That's a good trait, especially like you're our outreach, good and faithful leader. But it's like you're interested in hearing what other people have to say, and like you can sit on the couch with us for like an hour and you don't say a single word because you're just eating your goldfish and listening. Like, but you do have a lot of like knowledge, and like once you get you talking, it's very good. But sometimes it just takes a little bit to get you talking.
I love observing.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Input, yeah.
I think you're such like a subtle observer too. Like you're very like maybe not quiet, but like gentle. You're very gentle about how you pay close attention to detail. And like even with when we were talking about photography and how like you like how something looks because of the attention to detail. And like when you're going on a walk and you're like paying attention to things and how they're shaped in the structure of things, like you're gonna want to take a picture because of like the attention to detail. And it's cool.
Great. I reject the notion that you're not a people person based entirely on what you just said. I love that.
I'm glad I'm not heartless.
That you are inquisitive and a great listener. That is like such a great skill that is hard to master. So, Asa didn't take the test. Oh, she took it last year.
Last summer. So I've already done this whole thing.
Wait, so you're too good for us?
No! That was escalated.
It's a year ago. What if it's changed?
Well, she didn't take the test again. I'm not going to make her get up here, but you can talk to her about it anytime. Yeah, lunch conversation. So just a couple comments, then we'll wrap it up. Thank you for that. That was amazing. I hope that maybe the Lord uses that to cultivate you these next 4 weeks, the next level of your community together and your relationships with each other. And I hope you learn something about yourself. I do want to encourage you, I sort of made the comment already, but with these kind of personality tests, whether it's this or Enneagram or whatever, sometimes people get like really obsessed about it and they start to like find their complete identity in that. I don't sense that y'all are doing that, but I want to caution you against that with any of those kind of things. This is just it's a tool in your tool belt, if you will. Think of it that way. It is not completely you. As I said earlier, there's a couple good reasons not to do that. One is that no test is perfect. This is a man-made thing. I think it's a good thing, but it's a man-made thing. And second, I do believe people change over time, and that's okay. And then third, you're not a perfect test taker. So you might have not answered the questions perfectly, accurately, according to you. Yeah.
So is bad, because I feel like comparing yourself to other people is bad.
Sure, I guess if you take it that way. I don't think any of your strengths are bad, but sure, if you compare your strengths and decide that some strengths are better than others, then that would be a bad way to apply this. I hope you don't do that. You don't need to do that. So.
I think personally, it can depend on how you look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're comparing yourself to someone and saying, "Oh, they're better than me," like that is not a great way to use that skill. But you can also look at this and say, "Oh, they have these strengths, and I have these strengths." That's also considered comparison, and then you can use that to help further build whatever it is that you're doing. Like that's also considered comparison. You don't have to look at it as, you know.
Are you talking about competition?
Potentially.
Hey, that was like my fourth one, guys. Hold
That
on.
was my first one.
Dude,
Which means I just compare myself to people all the time. I feel like a terrible thing. It's super unhealthy.
I feel like it's more just you want to be the best at what you do. Like you're not gonna. Okay, the only way I can describe this is that you don't want to half-ass it. Like, I'm sorry, but that's the only way I can describe it. Why would you do something that's you're only gonna do halfway? Like, you know, if you're gonna do something, you're gonna do it not to be the best, but to do it to your best abilities. And I think that's a good quality to have. Yeah, anyways.
It's funny though, the description for competition is like, if there's no, like, if you can't win, then there's no point in doing it. And I was like, yeah. There's nothing to win. But like, it's funny. Sorry, I really encourage y'all to read what it says, like, what other people say about their gift. Because one of them, it was like, some people see my impatience as not wanting to listen to the traps, the potential roadblocks. What I keep repeating is I want to know when I'm going to hit the wall, and I need you to tell me how much it's going to hurt. But if I choose to bump into the wall anyway, then don't worry, you've done your job. I just had to experience it for myself. Like, is that why I do stupid things sometimes? Like, because I have to know for myself, and like I have to feel it. And I'll tell like hey, like, if I interrupt you, like when you're talking because I have to get something out of my mind, like just hit me. Like, just tell me I interrupted you. Like I have a really bad problem with interrupting people sometimes. So. Just hit me or just tell me to shut up.
Just so we know, I said no.
Actually, she hits me.
No, because of who I am, I told her that I refuse to interrupt her and I will allow her to say whatever because I find her interesting. So I said no. I'll let her know, but
yeah, maybe bad.
Okay.
That was a good conversation.
It was a fun.
Well, I was going to make the comment of you now own the books. I would encourage you to go and read through the rest of those chapters. And if you're really curious, you can read the rest of them as you understand what are the strengths of these other people that you're with. I would encourage you to read through that report that you got. That report is, like I said, the book is older than the report, but what's so cool about the report, if you read through it, is it talks a bit about how your strengths like work together in a way that the book can't, because the book doesn't know, you can't input, okay, here's my top 5. That report can put it together for you. Share that with each other like you're already doing. I love that. Bring it home. People that you love and know there, talk to them about it. Let your parents read it. What do they think? What do they observe about you? I would encourage you to do all those things. Yeah.
I saw for $60 you can unlock that you can see all of your 44 categories.
Yeah.
Do you recommend to use
I've never done that,
Okay.
so I don't have a genuine answer on it. I've been satisfied with the top 5, but if you want to do that, go for it. Sure.
First blue category.
Yeah, sure.
Place 6, I don't know.
Yeah. The last thing I want to do is I want to return to that question I asked yesterday on the other side of that board. And Brody asked it, I love it. Brody asked me yesterday, he asked me the same question. Why should I hire you? And so if you'll let me, I'd like to answer the question. Why you should hire me. You ready? All right.
You got 1 minute.
Brody, you should hire me for my strengths. Based on the Strength Finder assessment, I'm a responsible person. It's easy for me to take ownership of projects and tasks. You won't have to ask me to do that because I naturally already do it anyways. Second, I'm an analytical thinker. I like to think about the big picture and look for the facts to make decisions and solve problems. But I'm not just this analytical, responsible robot. I'm a relator. I'm a people person. I have the ability and desire to develop long-lasting, deep relationships with coworkers and customers, which results in creating fans of our brand. If those are the kind of strengths you're looking for, somebody who's responsible, somebody who's analytical, somebody who can relate with people, Brody, you should hire me. There you go. Wasn't about performance. ChatGPT did not write that, but I actually was going to tell you.
No, I said you didn't even need.
Oh, there you go. Nice. Yeah, I love that. No. I'm not trying to pick on you because I literally was about to say another action that I would recommend you do is that you use ChatGPT. One of the things I just recently did this. Thinking about jobs, I've been potentially maybe going to change jobs. If you'll go to something like ChatGPT and punch in, hey, here are my strengths, here are my experiences, here are the kind of things I'm interested in, what kind of job should I think about? If you're not sure answering that question, what are the kind of things that I might want to do? Put that in there. It'll use that and it'll come up with some great suggestions. Don't just use ChatGPT, ask the people around you. But when that question comes up, and it will, I promise you it will. I said it yesterday, whether it's a church job, coffee shop, whatever. And it might not be phrased exactly the way, hey, why should I hire you? It might be more specific to why are you a good fit for this company? We really value this. Why are you a good fit for that? Answer with your strengths. It's a great way to answer that question. If I'm somebody that's hiring, which I have done before, that would be a great way to answer it. Cool. Thank you, guys. That's it.